All right. Welcome to Pulling Threads, where we explore mindful living, emotional healing, self discovery, and authenticity. I'm Leslie, and today I'm joined by my friend Bev Perez, and we're diving into the world of modern dating in 2025. What's changed? What's challenging? And how do we navigate it all with clarity, intention, and mindfulness? What do we need to know? And how can brain science help us understand what's happening out there? So, welcome, Bev. Dating in 2025. It's a whole
Yes.
new world, right?
Oh no. It's not all bad, I swear. I-
Bev,
Thank
tell
you
us a
for
little bit.
having me.
Oh, sorry for interrupting you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. First off, thank you for having me. Excited to be here on Pulling Threads. So, a little bit about me. I come from a law enforcement background, and after a devastating loss, losing someone that I was potentially going to spend the rest of my life with, went down a really, really dark space, which led me to learn the most important love of all. I know it's so corny, but it's the self-love, man. It is.
Oh, sweet
It
language.
is. It has to be. And in that journey, man, I realized, so for clarity purposes, I've been single now for 5 years, but there's a reason for that. The reason for that is because after going through what I went through and learning self-love, my qualifications, if you will, my criteria, my what I
Standards.
look for in a partner, all of those things have changed. They've been elevated to a level where, well, maybe I guess you could say I'm a little more picky now, and I see the flags more red now versus it's pink. Maybe it just got dyed in the washer. It's still good. No, that's a red flag, Bev. So with that being said, I have now went from being former cop to love coach. And my goal is to help people in this world navigate this world, whether you're single, whether you're lonely, whether you don't like yourself, or you're decoupling, divorcing, or if you're ready to dive into the world of dating. How do we do that? Where do I start? So that's kind of where I am.
Awesome. Yay. Yeah, you have so many great stories and experiences to share with everyone. So amazing. Amazing.
So many stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my dating experience in throughout my life has been brief, honestly. I guess technically now I'm dating, but I'm with a partner who I met really quickly after divorce, and I didn't date during the divorce. So my window of dating was brief, but the brief period of time I was out there and experiencing the apps, logging into the apps at 48, like 2 days before my 48th birthday for the first time in my life was quite an experience.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that I'm not alone. There are many, many, many men and women who are out there trying to navigate this world of dating, which is just, I don't know. How would you describe the dating landscape right now?
Just from the folks that I've talked to and just from personal experience myself, I feel that there's a lot of confusion.
Mm,
There's a lot of, dare I say, fear. Not even just of rejection, but how do I approach a person? What do I say? How do I say something without coming off creepy or needy? Or as a woman, do I take that first step? I think there's just a lot of unknown. There's a lot of confusion. And I also feel like there's just a lot of people that just don't have the time. They don't
mm,
have the time to entertain it. They don't have the capacity. They're just like, you know what? I want to keep my peace, and my peace looks like me being single right now. And that's what I feel like a lot of people are going through. However, on the other side of all those thoughts, they're low key or high key lonely and they want to meet somebody.
mm.
So it's a tug of war. I feel like everybody's in this tug of war of no, and the defense mechanism is no, I don't want to meet nobody. I'm good. I'm good by myself. I don't need that stress. But at deep down, they're like, man, if I could just curl up next to somebody right now, watch a movie, or go on a date, or not have to go to another wedding alone, type of thing.
Right,
So I feel
right.
like right now in the dating world, there's like this tug of war,
I totally
personal
agree.
tug of war.
personal tug of war. And I like what you said about confusion. I think that all the old rules no longer apply, but people aren't sure. So, as a woman, should you be the one to reach out the next day? Should you not? I mean, those are simple questions, but no one really has the answer. And
Yeah.
what we've learned with our studies of attachment and engage rules of engagement with men and women is that there isn't a right answer. It depends on the person. Playing hard to get is not going to work with a severe avoidant. It's just not.
Right.
And they're because they want to know for sure that
Hmm.
you're interested. So if there's any doubt, they're going to run. So, I mean, every individual is going to respond differently. So, all those rules and all the old things people would say, oh, don't do this or don't do that. And your mother's advice and your grandmother's advice and your father's advice, like it's not going to work
There's
anymore.
no one way. There's no
Yeah.
one way. There's no one way to skin a cat. I mean, it's just
No.
gonna be, you're gonna have to try different things.
And I
And
think,
I've spoken to a couple of my male friends that are like, men like it when a woman approaches us. Like that's kind of hot, like when a woman does that.
yeah,
Whereas I have, other male friends that'll be like, she's doing too much. Like, don't, nah. If I'm interested, you'll know. You know,
right. Right.
how am I to know which mindset that guy has?
Right. Or which guy's showing up each day. I know in my relationship, there are days when I'm like, do you need space? You need space? You need space? Because
Yeah.
in the past, he's needed a lot of space. Now he's like,
No, come
I'm
here.
enjoying being with you. Can we hang out today? And I'm like, today? Like all day? Really? So you just don't know from day to day. And yeah, there's
And the and
a
the
lot to
reality
learn.
is there's ways, right? There's ways to know if that's the kind of guy I'm gonna have to approach or if that's the kind of guy that will approach me.
Yeah.
And there's ways, but we also have to recognize that there's other elements to that.
Yes.
Because just because a guy's out and about doesn't mean that he's single and ready to mingle,
Right.
right? So
Right. We can't put people in a
you could
box.
do all the flirties and all the things and all the little looks or whatever, and he still doesn't come over. That may mean that he might be the kind of guy that you need to go up to, but that may also mean that he might potentially be involved in something already.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's just a lot of things to navigate, and people are scared to do it, I think, are
Mhm.
uncomfortable in doing it, and some people just don't even want to deal with it.
Right. Right. Yes. Okay. So we'll try to stick with dating today because I know we could easily go off on relationship stuff,
Oh.
which we'll do another episode on. But uh it's tricky. And I'm curious what you think about how the dating apps have really both added to and taken away from the dating experience. I have minimal app experience. I was on Hinge maybe 8 weeks at max, and Bumble less than that. It overwhelmed me. I was like, this is a no for me. But for the average person who's out in the dating world, it's the best way for people to meet. I think 80% of couples report finding their significant other on there. So what do you think? Is it all good or is it all bad? Is it something else?
Again, we go back to there's not one way to skin a cat, right? Some things are going to work for some people, some things are not.
Yeah.
Me, unlike you, Match, Hinge, Coffee Meets Bagel, Bumble, Facebook dating app, G Spot, which is like a Hispanic one. Listen, I tried it because for me, I'm not going to knock it till I try it. And the reason for me trying it was we're busy. We're
Yeah.
busy. And there's going to be somebody out there that I'm not going to meet. There's going to be somebody out there that isn't going to be at the places that I go to. So I tried it. However, it's not for me, but I did try it, but it's not for me. Now, the pros with it, as I just mentioned, well, we have the stats of 80%, but it's also the ability to meet someone that you might have never crossed paths with any other way. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
that,
I met my person on Hinge. I was only on it a few weeks.
and when you
We met on Hinge and then later reconnected because we never actually met while we were talking in the app. But I would never have met him.
Yeah,
There's
because
no
when
way
you,
I
as
would have
you
met
guys
him.
as you guys sit down and talk about each other's lives, right now that you guys are together, and you start talking about kind of your day to days, there's those are two separate streets, man. You
Yeah.
guys were never gonna like
They were
how.
never going to cross paths. No.
Yeah, so I think that that's the beauty of the app. It's the ability also to cross boundaries. I mean, I'm in Maryland. If I want to meet somebody in Jersey, I could just put the app to Jersey and meet a guy in Jersey, or I can widen the distance or whatever. I think that's beautiful. I think that that's a great opportunity to meet someone. Now, if we go into the cons, you know,
Right.
I think that okay, so here are the cons. I think that the catfishing happens in more ways than one. It's a lot with not just the physical appearance of the person, but also the actual thoughts and behaviors of said person. Once you meet them and sit with them in person and you start to have kind of maybe deep conversations, and you're like, wait a minute, we are not. We are not aligned as how we think and what we believe in and what we value. I also think that a lot of folks, they hide behind the app, so they're a little more bold in saying things and crossing lines and being a little disrespectful.
Yeah.
And also, too, I feel like there can be a kind of a certain theme attached to apps where it's like, it's almost like ordering food. You just get it. Like, I can order a pizza. It's gonna come to me right now. And it's almost like that's how they feel. And we're talking about sex here. Like I could swipe with you. We're gonna have sex now tonight. Here's my address. Come over. And it's almost like a service. So I feel like those things are very, very unattractive. Those were the things that have very much made it unattractive to me. I need to be stimulated mentally before I can go there. And I just couldn't, it just wasn't matching for me.
Right. Because
It wasn't matching for me.
some people, that is what they want.
Sure. And that's fair.
Right. But then also, speaking from a woman's perspective, if you are looking for a man who wants something more, but you're in the app and all of these men are getting just
Already.
sex, or they're just getting the come over, do it, do whatever we're going to do and then go. And so they have access, even if in the beginning they wanted a relationship too. Once they got tired of looking and having to take out women on dates and going through the whole process, and then they realize, oh, if I just look for the right person, they'll just come over. So the expectations have started changing, right? And you don't know. I felt like everyone put that they were looking for a long-term relationship, but that was not what was
They're not. They're
happening.
not. No, they're not.
We were not all looking for a
Not.
long-term relationship.
No.
And some of them, maybe that's where they started, but that's not where they are right now. So it's very, very frustrating. And
And like you mentioned, it makes if something is that easy to get, how much value we're gonna put into getting that thing? Like
right.
how much value does that thing have now?
Yeah.
If it's easy to get, if it's easy to get, I don't know, a purse, this very expensive purse, it's easy to get it. It's like you could buy that purse that they discount it. It's easy to get. You go
It's
to the
not,
store.
yeah, it's going to
It's
be
in every
cheap.
store.
It's getting
It's in
cheaper
it's
and
in every
cheaper.
store. Everybody's wearing it. Everybody has it. Why am I gonna work hard to get this thing that I can easily just get anywhere? I don't have to work hard for that anymore.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the dating app has done to what I believe the true beauty of being with someone is.
Yes.
It's gonna be work. It's
Yeah.
gonna be work. Yeah, okay, we just swiped and match, but that doesn't mean that we're about to go have sex and we no. We
Right.
swiped and match. That means that now the real work starts.
Right.
The real work of getting to know each other. Now we're going to a cough to grab a coffee. I don't even drink coffee. Now we're gonna go, I mean, so whatever, right? We're gonna be in public. You're gonna take me on a date. I mean, this word is probably not used, but court me, get to know me.
Yeah.
All the matching did was let us know, hey, I like you. I like you too. So let's get to work.
Right.
However, the mindset has been, I like you. I like you. All right, man. So are we smashing or what? I mean, what time you coming over? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And that's very
that to
draining.
me is so unattractive and just not what I thought I was. And I'm not saying that that's 100% what it's been, because obviously it's worked for many people and that's not what it's been. That was just unfortunately what that's been
Your
my
experience.
experience.
Well, and I want to say too, for the people who that's all that they have time for and it's all that they want in their life, that's great.
Go for it.
That's great. I think what we're really talking about are the people who are out there on the dating apps looking for their person. Like they're
Yeah.
looking for someone that's going to become a partner in a more serious relationship, maybe marriage. But if that's not your goal and you're okay with a different person
Fine.
and you want to do the Bumble order or Tinder or whatever it is,
Go
that's
for it.
great. That's
Man,
great.
go for it.
That is a subsection, one of many of dating in 2025. And it's
And the
out there.
reality is as you keep staying on these dating apps, just like anything else, it'll burn you out.
Yes.
And just like anything else, addictive behaviors are real. It's no
Yes.
longer going to be something that, oh, I'm seeking to meet someone. Now you're like addicted to going through
Swiping.
TikTok, addicted to going through Instagram. Now we're addicted to swiping. It
Right.
just
Because
becomes
there's a
another
dopamine
added
hit with the
addiction.
swipe and the
Correct.
messaging. So,
Dopamine
oh,
hit.
he hit, right. You get a dopamine
Matched.
hit every time you
Matched
match
with
with
me.
someone, every time someone sends you a message. Right. So,
So
yeah.
I would advise, for those of us that are out there that are single, that are willing to try dating apps. I'm not saying I won't try it ever again. I would. However, I take my breaks. Like
Yeah.
I was on it. I was on it. I can't remember. I think I had Hinge up. And honestly, I went on like my last date on it. I can't remember what happened on this date. It was probably something ridiculous because I have a on my Instagram, I talk about my date stories. Um, After that, I was like, delete. I need a break. Like I just need a break. I need a minute. A minute. I don't want to, I don't want to look. I just don't want that right now. And again, keeping my mind open, keeping my heart open to the potential of meeting someone, whether that is at the Target or at the gym or at a friend's house.
Yeah. There you go. At a friend's house.
Never know.
Yes. You never know. And I think that's a very mindful exercise to take breaks,
You have to.
take a
You'll burn
pause,
yourself out.
take a pause. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, you were there for a few days, but having the introductory conversation of, so, what do you do? How many siblings do you have? What are your hobbies? Oh, and my infamous question, please, if you're on a dating app, please, please, please do your best to not ask this question. I know you want to know, but it is the most I can't stand this question. So what are you looking for on here? Because the minute you ask me what I'm looking for on here, it's because I know you want sex. And that is annoying to me.
That's
Leave
I
me alone.
okay. So I'm like super naive. This is why I was bad at it because
Leave
I
me
would be
alone.
like, "Oh, they're trying to get to the bottom of the story, like get to the point." Um,
No, because it's
so
clearly stated on some of these apps. For instance, on the Hinge, you can put on there monogamy, whatever all the
right, but
things
people
are.
don't always tell the truth. So my one of my only I in the 8 weeks I was on the apps, I took breaks. So one
Good.
of one of the one of the funniest stories was a guy that I met, super nice. This the minute we started texting on our phone and we had made a plan to meet up, he asked me if I was open-minded. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I'm annoyed
innocent.
already. I'm already annoyed.
Been married for
I'm never gonna see this guy
15
again.
years, like been in a relationship for 20, now fresh out of this. I'm like, oh, I'm a very open-minded person, meaning like I'm open-minded to like
Yeah,
anything in the world.
that's not what he meant.
Love who you love, all this stuff. No, 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 it's
Not
not
what
what
he
he meant.
meant
So
at all.
date one, he's like, well, you said you were open-minded, so I'm curious about your level of tolerance for kink. And I was like,
I'm,
oh, oh,
I'm,
um,
I'm taking it to go back because I will be taking this food.
I
I'm leaving.
was like, this is going to be a funny story someday. It's fine. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe. But super nice guy. He got right to the point.
Oh,
And
don't do that.
in some ways, I saw that as positive though, because I thought I immediately knew, okay, if on date one, you're telling me like there are some very specific kinks that you want, then good. Those are not things I want to do. I'm not interested in that. And now I know, so I don't need to keep going on more dates with you. Great. He was honest and open about it. So there's that perspective too. He didn't lie. He wasn't lying.
And you know what? You know what? That happens so often. And it's just people like me and you who are genuinely trying to make a connection. And next thing you know, they're on a whole other level with a whole other idea of what to do. And I said this to my cousin and to my sister. I was like, you know what? My ideal partner, he's not on a dating app.
Mm,
He's not on social media. He's power washing the house right now. He is shoveling snow because it's snowing somewhere wherever he at. He's mowing the lawn. He's painting the house. There's a leak in the pipe that he's been trying to get at that he's doing that today.
right.
That's where he's at.
Right.
He's doing he's doing stuff. He's busy.
He's
Um
busy. Yes.
he's running his business. He's taking care of stuff. He's in the gym. He's in
Right.
the gym.
Right. These
Yeah.
are all like, this is, yes, great,
I
great
just
points. Yes.
That's where he is. Or he's working on a farm. Or he's like feeding the needy somewhere in some like really underserved country area, town somewhere. He'll be back. He's that's where he's at. But he's not on social media. He's probably not on a dating app. I
I
just
agree. I
made my
agree.
peace with it.
Yes. And those are great points and good things to remember.
Yeah.
Next, okay, let's jump ship and dive into something different. A very hot topic out in the world, situationships.
Hmm.
What is a situationship, Bev?
Right. So situationship. I don't know. I've never been one, so I'm joking. Situationship.
What
All right.
are they and why are they so common right now?
All right. So a situationship is basically it's not a relationship, but also not a friendship, but it's also not a friends with benefit thing because I actually want to have something more with you, but I'm not ready to commit with you. So
So
that's what
no
a situation.
exclusivity, no exclusivity.
No
Doesn't mean
exclusivity. There's no monogamy. It's just a situation. Like I have a situation with you. We have something going on. Neither one of us are really ready to commit, or neither one of us are really ready to admit that we're ready to commit.
or one of us isn't.
Probably, or one of us isn't.
Okay.
So maybe there's a party in one of the two that does want something, but they know that the minute they say, "Hey, I want something like I want to be in a committed relationship with you," they know that the other person's going to jump ship. So
Right.
rather than to lose them, they just stay in this, which is this situationship where we're doing all the things that couples do, but we're not committed to each other.
Do you think that the false sense of, oh, I have this thing in my phone that gives me a full menu of other choices and I'm always going to have access and maybe there's something better out there? Do you think that contributes to like the rise in situationships?
Potentially. There's this book that I read by, oh gosh, what is her name? I think it's is it Lori Yuri? Logan Yuri. And she talks about maximizers. And maximizers are the individuals that always want to know, wait, I don't want to miss out. What's out there though? Like, let me see if there's something else better. And they just keep maximizing their number of like they just keep wanting to find out more and more and more what's out there. They're not gonna just settle with the one person they have. Like I really like this guy and I'm enjoying my time with him. But what if there's a better guy out there? And then they go through the apps and try to find another guy, and then another guy, and then another one. It's like they're never fully satisfied with whomever the person is that they're with. So I
Right.
do feel like that can contribute for sure to this whole
Yeah.
situationship and desire to not want to commit to that one person for like what the FOMO, the fear of missing out on someone better, maybe.
Right. Another, I think, more compassionate view of situationships could be finances are hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Dating is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Men are expected to pay for everything still.
Yes.
It may be easier for a man to be in a situationship. Oh, let's just hang out. We're just friends. Like, rather than I've got to date you, court you, go through planning. A lot of men don't like or enjoy that part. Um, I hate always casting out like a totally negative view of something. And I think the situationships may serve the purpose of I still want to spend time with you. I don't want to be exclusive. I don't want to fully commit. And I certainly can't afford a relationship right now, but I want to keep you around.
Yeah, I agree. If both parties agree that that's where they want to be and they're both genuinely in their truth okay with it, live that, be in that situationship. Neither one of you are ready, maybe newly single, newly divorced, just newly stepping out into the world of dating, and you just don't want to commit into anything in the very moment. I think that's 100% completely fair. And so I don't think it's all bad. I just think it's choice. I also feel that as it pertains to dating, I was asked once, what was the best date you'd ever been taken on? The best date I'd ever been taken on was he texted me at I want to say 11 p.m. and it was an article of a meteor shower happening that night at midnight. And I was like, how'd you know? How'd you know I love this stuff? He's like, I had a feeling like you will be into that stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. Like I was so excited. Mind you, I'm in South Florida. And he then says, you know what? Just dress warm, like sweatpants, hoodie. I'm gonna come pick you up around midnight. We're going somewhere. And I had read the article, but it's been like an hour has passed. So I kind of forgot about it. It's late, about to go to sleep. And I'm like, what? It's midnight. He's like, just get ready. Picks me up. We drive close to the Everglades. We sit on top of the hood of his car. We're wrapped up in a blanket, two bottles of water, and we're sitting on the hood, on the hood of the car. He's like, just look up. And we're watching the meteor shower. That date might have cost him maybe $3 on gas or something. But what it really, really cost him was time. It was listening. It
Yeah.
was his awareness of me.
Right.
So I say all that to say dating doesn't have to be expensive. If you get to know the person, dating doesn't have to be expensive. Now, if you're dating someone that is money driven and wants to go on yachts and wants to go on things, and that's not your field of person, I mean, that's something you have to consider. But a woman like me, that by far, hands down, mind you, I will be 40 in May. My best date to date
Right. But it was
cost him about
thoughtful.
$3,
It
maybe.
was thoughtful and Bev
That's
centered.
it. And
Right.
it was time. You gave me your time. Bev centered, thoughtful. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be, he could have taken me on a yacht. I would have had fun. But that right there, that date would have still topped the yacht date for me.
Right. Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I think that their situationships get a bad rap because they can be really harmful and confusing. And they can be, people can be in them when they really want something else. It's almost like they're being kind of held in place and as a placeholder. And that's how people feel.
Yeah.
So that's when they are more negative.
I mean,
Obviously.
the title alone.
Right.
Situation, right? Like nobody ever looks at a situation like a good thing. We got a situation here. Oh, it must be. Please tell me more
Right.
about your situation. Like that title alone really does give it this negative sounding thing already. Like somebody's stuck in limbo. I'm in a situation. I don't know what to do. Get me out of here. You know,
Right.
some
Right.
people may very well want to be there, but
Right.
that's kind of the connotation behind it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
So I guess from that point, um, any other insights on what's confusing about dating right now? Other things that are confusing.
I think the confusing thing is also our just dive deep into the digital world. We are going through a loneliness epidemic. And I think people, after COVID, a lot of people forgot how to people with people.
Hmm.
And that whole thing is confusing. Like that whole thing is just a debacle. You know, and I know no offense to anything, but there are so many different movements that has also made it like I don't want to come off creepy. Like men probably feel like if I
Right.
approach her Is she gonna think I'm trying to harm her? Like,
Right. Men
never
don't know what
mind.
to do.
Like, I don't want
Absolutely.
to come off as a creep, but I like her. I see her at the gym all the time, but I'm not supposed to talk to her at the gym. And if I do, I'm a creep or I'm trying to hurt her. So I think there's just like this very confusing on how to be human and how to just have a conversation. And also the other thing is if you go on a date with somebody, like the gentleman you said you went on the date with, and he was talking about the kinky stuff. You said one day this is gonna make a funny story, and you sat there. And you know what? That's it. It's very
He
much that
actually asked
simple.
me a day or two later to see him again. And I said,
Yeah,
I didn't feel a
not for
connection.
me.
I didn't ghost him. This is a whole nother thing to discuss, but I didn't ghost him. I didn't breadcrumb him and say, oh, maybe nothing. I said, you're a really great guy. I don't think that we have a connection. The next
Yeah.
day he said, hey, I'm always trying to better myself. Could
Wow.
you give me some feedback?
Tips. Yeah.
What was it about me? And I said, to be honest, I'm
Yeah.
pretty new to the dating world. I'm just coming out of a very long marriage. And for me, it was a turn off for you to bring up sex on the first date,
Yeah.
like regardless of what kind of sex it was. But to bring it up on the first date, that's not what I was seeking right then. So I felt, now I look back, I'm like, wow, I did that in a really healthy way, even though I didn't have any experience
Yes.
with it. Where I think one of the biggest challenges mentally for people, and something that has the greatest mental impact, is ghosting. So people go on dates, it seems great. Maybe they have sex, maybe they don't, but the complete, like, just dropping
Off
of
the
them
face of the
as
earth
if they do not matter.
existed.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
just vanish. And I think that's such
Because
a,
it's much easier for people to do that than to have to reject someone because the whole
yeah,
feeling behind it is so icky. However, if we were just to have an adult conversation similar to how you did with this guy, what a beautiful way to just full circle that moment. And
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There's so much pressure when people go on these dates. Man, you just take it like you're about to go hang out with somebody.
right,
And it's
right.
just not,
Just
there's
relax.
zero expectations. Just relax. I don't like coffee, whatever. I'll take a tea. Give me the water. It doesn't matter. I'm just hanging out with this guy. Whether, I like him or not, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna have a conversation. I want to know about his life. He's a whole other human in the world that I can just talk to. There's so
Right,
many strangers and people just randomly, how you doing? I talk to, hey, how's it going? I'm in the grocery line talking to people. Why can't I do that here? Because we put first date on the title of this meeting.
right. And it's
Come on, like
suddenly
just
so scary.
now all of a sudden it's like, do I look good? Oh my God, do I smell? Man, just go, just relax, have a conversation, zero expectations. We don't know who we're gonna end up being with forever and always. Just go and have a good time. And everybody knows that first date is an audition.
Yep.
So then go on the second date if you feel good enough to do so. By the second date, you'll know if there's gonna be a third date, and that's a good sign.
Yes.
The first date is an audition, but I ideally I would like people to not take that audition like an audition. I'd rather you just go and just hang out with this person, and
Yes.
just it's okay. Like
Yes.
relax, it's okay.
So one thing, in that very quick minute that I did log in to dating apps, I met a really amazing person who had been dating for just 1 year since his divorce. And he gave me the best dating advice for someone just coming back into the dating world. And that was, he said, doesn't matter who they are, put in your criteria in Hinge if that makes you feel good, but make yourself go on 10 first dates. Because he said the first 3 or 4 are going to feel so awkward. It's been years.
So
And I wasn't a big dater even before I met my ex-husband.
yeah.
Like, I just wasn't. So I made it to 7 first dates before
Oh,
I met Frank, my person now. But by the time I walked into the date with him, so I was divorced in March, I went on 6 other dates with 6 different men. A couple of them had more than one date, but not many. when I walked in to hit the date with him, my level of confidence and my I don't give a fuck about this was here. Like the first
Yeah.
date, I remember walking into the place and the whole time thinking, I don't want to be here. This feels
What am I doing? What am I
terrible.
doing? Why
So
am I here?
so that person's point in saying just get the nerves out of your system. But for someone who's re-entering the dating world or new to the dating world, like go on 10 dates. Obviously pick people who are safe and pick
Yes.
people who are good practice conversationalists, right? So something you have something in common with the person. But don't worry about them being the perfect person. You're not going to meet your person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with on the first date you go on after re-entering the dating world. It's not going to happen.
Furthermore, we're not perfect people, so I can't go in there hoping to meet the perfect man. I'm not the perfect gal,
Right,
so it's just
right.
really it's hanging out with another human. And like you said, yes, maybe letting one other person know, I'm going on a date. Like, Leslie, I'm going to go to this restaurant at this location with this guy, send you a picture. This is what he looks like. This is where we're going, for safety purposes. Go somewhere public, go on a date, have a conversation, zero
Yeah.
expectations, be open and calm. One thing I can say, all of the dates that I've gone on, like these guys are like they felt so I could see the tenseness in them. And then slowly but surely as I just started talking and being who I am, they're just like, oh
Right.
man, she's
And that's the
cool.
other thing.
Like,
Be yourself. Be
yeah.
yourself. And remember, they're being their best, they're on their best behavior. So you're
So,
both parties are getting a masked version. Okay. But
yes,
that's okay. That's just how it is. If
part of
we
the game.
met the real person on the first date, we would probably never date anyone more than once.
Pretty much.
But,
Pretty much.
enjoy yourself, have fun. But yeah,
Mm.
that the difference in me walking in to my first date versus my seventh date. If Frank had been my first, he wouldn't have been interested in me because I was so nervous and I was very what's the word? All business. I was
Mm.
all business. I was like giving my resume. That's
Mm.
it was yeah, giving my resume like here are my accomplishments in
Who I
life that
am.
no one cares about, right? So uh
Here.
right. Right. Like no one cares. So one thing I follow several of the web Facebook groups. Are we dating the same guy?
Mhm.
And a very common theme amongst posts have to do with ghosting and men who, I'm going to say men specifically because it seems to be more common that women are upset because once the man has sex with them, they either ghost them or they tell them they're not interested. So that might be the case. Or there are a lot of, I'm going to call it like a 90-day arc where for the first 90 days, things are great. The guy couldn't be, seems interested. Now, there's no exclusivity, but the girl falls first and she's fallen madly in love in a month or in 2 months or in 3 months. And the guy is interested, but he's not falling in love. So, first, I want to talk about the, I guess, that phenomenon and how women are so confused. And there is kind of a brain chemistry reason for this that you and I know about.
Yeah.
Um, so first, I want to just talk about the logistics, like what's actually happening to our brains when we have sex with someone and how attachment works and bonding works. That, and then what can we do to try to prevent the fast fall because it's only happening on one side in many cases. So we talked
Yeah.
about this a little bit before, but when women have sex, our bonding hormone, whether we like it or not, we cannot control oxytocin being released. in our brains. And that is the bonding hormone. It's released during sex, especially orgasm, childbirth, and breastfeeding. It serves a very biological and natural purpose. It doesn't happen to men. They get dopamine. So for men, the dopamine spikes are the thing that keeps them coming back and keeps them either coming back to the same woman or looking for sex with multiple women, because the dopamine feels so good. But oftentimes, once the goal is achieved and they get the dopamine hit, the rush decreases and then they lose interest. So, what are your thoughts on how to help women understand this and be more mindful of it when they're engaging with men?
I think that scientific awareness alone is so key because I feel that many might not know that and they feel it. And when we don't know the science behind it, but we feel this rejection, I mean, it just really it just takes a toll on your overall feelings, like wellness, like self-worth.
Yeah.
Why does this keep happening to me? Is it me? What am I not doing? Is it the sex? Is it my body? Is it my weight? Is it my on and on and on when the reality is it's not really a you problem. It's a them problem. It's a science issue. It's a science
Yeah.
way of, it's just biology, right?
Right.
So I feel that education is key. I'm always going to feel education is key. So the knowing of that is already number one important. So now knowing that, right, as a woman, if we know that as women, based on science, if we have sex with someone, we're releasing a hormone that leaves us feeling that attachment with them. Maybe
Even
some
if there
women,
isn't compatibility, even with,
even
we
if
all know someone who has no compatibility with a man and
yes,
they can't stop
exactly.
talking about them and
A
how
red flag.
they have chemistry. And you're like, but
Love
wait,
him.
you, yeah,
Right.
I am
Like
madly
that.
in love. I get butterflies. I get all the things. And it's like, ugh.
So I think it has to come back down to accountability, like self accountability. If I know that science, then I know as a woman, I'm not going to go out here and share my body like that. If I know that that's what's going to happen. And well, me at this stage, I already know. Bless you.
Sorry. Sorry.
Good. You gonna do it? We can edit this one out. Are
Okay.
you good? Okay. All right, here we go. So I will tell you this. I was just telling my sister and my cousin how I could no longer. I remember when I was younger, it almost didn't feel like it was an issue to, have sex with whoever, however, whatever. Now at this age, that is a soul tie for me. Like I have sex with you and I love you. Like something happens to me, but I
Yeah.
realized that. So in realizing that, and once we learned the science behind it and we learned the accuracy of it, I had to be accountable for Bev. I'm like, Bev, do you really like that guy enough to share your body with? Because you know what happens if you share your body with him.
Right.
And
We
I
got
would
to
tell
know it
myself,
ourselves.
we know. So you
Right.
have to,
Because
so
this might
that's
not happen to all women.
exactly, but if it happens to you. And I know that it didn't used to happen to me like this. Maybe as I got older, something shifted, but now it matters. If I share my body with you, like you're mine. We're together. So, but that's like Bev, that's weird. Like, that's not how that works. So, what I do is I take it slow. I have to play the slow game. That's how I hold myself accountable and I protect myself and my heart and my hormones and my science and my biology because I know that about me. So,
Right.
I play the slow game. I play the long game. I go on several dates before I share my body with you. I have clarifying conversations of this is what I want. I'm intentionally dating with this goal in mind. I'm not a sex buddy. I'm not a this. I don't just give it up. I'm not doing that because if I have sex with you, I'm going to love you. That is how I am built. Therefore,
Right.
I won't just do that off the break. Stimulate my mind, and we can stimulate everything else as it comes, if it comes.
Right.
So I think everybody needs to hold themselves accountable. And the best way to do that is to be educated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think educate yourself on this, understand it, believe it. It's science.
Yes, you can look
And
it up.
then assessing compatibility with a person, like knowing what you are and aren't compatible with, I know that it's not always possible to do that.
Mm.
But the more you learn, the more experiences you have. Like I recommend, if you're dating a lot, what are the things I like and dislike? What are my, if you've had a relationship before that didn't work, what are your deal breakers now? Like, understand and have a list of deal breakers and use it. So before you have sex with someone, before you bond to them, check the compatibility list. Are there serious deal breakers here with this person and it's never going to work? And I'm like you, if I am sharing my body with someone, I'm going to attach to them. I already know. My heart
Yep.
is wide open,
Yep.
wide
Same.
open.
Yep.
And I also attach to people in general for other reasons. My human
Yeah.
design, I'm a four. Like, we place so much value on the people in our lives, and we have a really hard time ending things. So I know that. So before I jump in with someone that I've already see that I'm not compatible with, I need to take a step away and be really mindful of the decisions.
That's
And
it.
then I think, but watching people for consistency, like, if this is how they're showing up, this is how they're always going to show up. If they're all over the place, they're the love bombing one minute and then pulling away the next minute, this person might not be emotionally available or stable for you. Like, don't have sex with them. This is
Now it
why,
also,
like,
and I
doing it too early is can be
like a problem.
a big problem, and it can be dangerous. It can be
Yeah.
really dangerous
Yeah.
because we really need to think about, I think, as a society, like, we need to think about our emotional safety as much as we think about our physical safety. And if someone's not safe for you, you don't have to engage with them. Um, so
And I think that before we even start tapping into the dating world, I would suggest, and I heard this, but I've been doing this with clients. Make a list of things that you value in a partner. Like, what are some things you value
mhm,
in a partner? Like, my list is very like, I value humility, hard work, take care of your fitness, spirituality. Make a
right.
list of the things that you value in a person that you want to meet, and then become that list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you become that list, some parts of it at least, or you're working towards that list, then you are potentially ready to meet someone. And you already are that person of value. Value recognizes value.
Right. Right.
You're gonna recognize the red flags, you're gonna see the green flags, you're gonna recognize the things a lot easier once you become that level person. And
Right.
then that'll also protect you from immediately wanting to share your body. Because again, stimulate the mind, everything else will come.
Right.
Everything else will come.
One other takeaway from this particular, like, oxytocin versus dopamine hit
Mhm.
is we can't take it so personally. It is personal.
Yeah.
But if we make the decision early on in dating someone to have sex with them,
Mhm.
and we as women become attached,
Mhm.
or we think we're attached because of the oxytocin, and they pull away, or they're having sex with five other women, or it becomes a situationship, we have to understand, like, this isn't a men are all bad thing, and it's not personal. It In this instance, it's not even about us because there isn't an emotional attachment yet for them. They don't get it until later.
Right.
They don't attach until later. And there has to be, for a man to attach, there has to be safety, compatibility, and an emotional connection, which just doesn't come as quickly. And for the woman, there isn't really an emotional connection either. It's a bond created by oxytocin that we think is an emotional connection.
Original
We
connection.
don't get it until later either, but we think we have it. So
Mhm.
taking a step back and not taking it so personally, because part of the most devastating part about this is the feeling of rejection. I'm not enough. I wasn't enough for
Wrong with
them.
me? What did
What's
I
wrong with
do?
me? I'm not worthy of a healthy relationship. Uh, so, one thing I did hear, I don't have the research in my pocket to like share it, but it makes sense, is post sexual behavior. So, someone asked
Hmm.
me, how do you know if someone has emotionally attached?
Hmm.
So, everyone's behavior is different, and this isn't a black or white thing,
Right.
but one test is, as women, we often want to, right after we have sex, we want to cuddle.
Mm-hmm.
We still want more
Yep.
physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
Men who are not emotionally attached do not want that. Once it's done, they have post whatever you want to call it, post nut, post sex clarity, or like it's done. They got the dopamine hit. Now they want to go do something else.
Yeah.
Now, some men who are, when they are emotionally attached, they also enjoy the post cuddling.
Mm-hmm.
Some know that their person that they love and they're in a relationship want to cuddle afterwards. So they do that for them.
No, they don't want
That's
to.
okay. But it's the person who, the minute it's done, they roll over or they leave, and they know that that's not what you want. There may not be an emotional connection yet. If you're asking, how do I know? That could be a sign. So checking their post sexual behavior and how they treat you. Do they treat you really nice before? And then after it's kind of a discard feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that man. I'm not labeling him
Right.
with any kind of disorder. I'm just saying he may not be emotionally attached to you the way you think you are to him if his behavior is very different than yours after sex. So take that into consideration, because I've heard a lot of women, how do I know? How do I know when they've attached?
But
Well,
I also think that we know because we know.
we know.
But we want so badly to believe that that's not the case because I really like him and the sex is so good. I just want to believe that he likes me back. You know.
You know,
Yeah.
definitely.
And even if you have to ask, you know.
Right. So this is all, I think, really great, mindful and self-aware dating tips. Um, Dating in 2025 is
So
definitely
much fun. I'm having fun, man. Hey, I'm having
it's
fun.
fun, but it's not for the faint of heart.
Oh no.
Um, I hope this kind of
Love is a battlefield.
I hope this all provided some food for thought. And I think breaking down additional things regarding relationships and what relationships look like now and what people are looking for and why people aren't looking for something long term. Like those are all future conversations
Yeah.
that there's so much more to add. The attachment styles, we could talk in 3 podcast episodes
Okay.
about avoidant and anxious attachment. And
Loop.
I personally started in my current relationship wildly anxious with a severe avoidant, and we have gone through the trenches to get to a much more secure place where we both feel secure. And even in an argument or a disconnection, neither of us feel anxious or like running. So how do you get there? Those are all great conversations for the future. This was like just touching on modern dating trends and where things are and what we thought. And I love the stories. I'm going to close with a story that my friend told me today.
Mhm.
She's been dating someone on and off, and he's done all the things like the ghosting, the breadcrumbing. It's now kind of a situationship. Um, and she's anxious and he's probably avoidant. And they reconnected after being disconnected for a while, and he told her, I don't want to do like the whole emotional thing. Can we just go on dates, maybe take some trips together, have fun, and make this easy?" And she was like, "Sure." She desperately wants to spend time with him. So, sure. And he said, "Yeah, I don't get it. Um, my marriage was really easy. Mind you, he's divorced. There was infidelity. It didn't end well. Like, and I said to her, he doesn't know how to do the work in a relationship. He just wants it to be easy. Ultimately, that's what everyone wants, but that's not how it works.
Never gonna work that
And
way.
so when people are dating, it's the minute they sense this isn't going to be easy,
Out.
they bail. They bail. So, Bev, the work that you're going to do, some of the work that I'm going to do, like it's so important because so many people need help figuring out how to do relationship too. Dating
Yes.
is one piece of many that people are struggling with. So, thank you for
Thank you. The
all
fairy
your
tales, they end with a happy ending, but that's just the beginning.
yes.
There's a
Yes, the
whole other
happy ending is
story.
the beginning. That is for
Yes.
sure. I said that's
Yeah.
great. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
having me. This
So,
is awesome, Les.
and if someone's watching this, thank you for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed the episode. And don't forget to subscribe to Pulling Threads, share it
Right.
with friends, and follow the Instagram handle, The Loom Life. And if you do so, let us know your biggest takeaway and the most helpful thing that we shared today. So
Yeah. And follow me on Instagram at _BevyBev.
awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank
Bev. It was great to see you.